Hey everyone, Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. Let's talk Eurovision. Yes, we gotta talk about it. So much to talk about. So much has happened. Not good stuff, unfortunately, and we'll dive into that in just a second. And before people are freaking out, yes, I am sick. I have a cold. And don't start talking about, you know what? Do you have it? I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know. There's no testing available. I think I just caught a cold. I'm already on the road to recovery. It's just, I sound a little congested. I got a cough. I got my water here ready. And so hopefully, I didn't want to cancel this just because of this little cold situation. So, but there's so much to talk about, and I figured let's delve right into it. I see a bunch of people are already in the chat. Hi, Oifiti is right there. Jolanda de Kroon. Hello, Dutch Eurovision. I'm sure a lot of Dutch folks out there. And yeah, let's talk about something that is, I guess, the big elephant in the room, and that is the Eurovision Song Contest 2020. I already made a quick video about that yesterday, but we all know by now that the contest in 2020, Rotterdam, Netherlands, has been canceled. And I'm not going to read the whole statement that the EBU put forward, but basically it really comes down to the whole COVID-19 situation, and with the coronavirus just being such a big threat, there's no way that they can guarantee that anyone attending the contest would then get that particular virus. And May is not that far away. It's less than 2 months now, and we don't anticipate this whole situation to be done by then, and therefore a decision had to be made. And this is the first time in history of the contest that this was canceled, and it's tough. 64 years of Eurovision consecutively, and then now we won't have it in 2020. It is tough. It's the right thing to do. First of all, let's just put that out there. It is the right thing to do. But it is still disappointing. It is, and I am definitely just as disappointed as everyone out there, but I also know that this was the right thing to do. And hopefully things will be better in the next few months, but that should be the main focus. Health comes first. So I do see that my resolution is a little bad right now of my video, so I apologize for that. I can try and adjust my video here a little, see if that's going to help. Hang on. Let's try this and see if that'll fix it a little. If not, I may have to restart. But let's see how the quality continues. But yeah, so this is heartbreaking. It is sad. And I woke up yesterday and I saw the news, and I was yesterday was the day where I was the sickest. I woke up and I had a sore throat, and my chest was hurting, and I was like, oh, I'm miserable. And then I got the ding. Eurovision canceled. I'm like, hot damn. So it was not a good day, to say the least. Yeah, this is what happened, and we don't have many answers as far as what's going to happen and who is going to host it. Are the acts going to be back? There are so many things that are currently a big question mark, so we have to wait and see what's going on. But let's talk this through real quick here, and then we'll go from there. The first thing I'm saying is that let's go for, actually, you know what we should do? Let's go through the questions, some of the things that they discussed, the EBU, like the FAQ, and then I share my thoughts, and then I would love to hear your thoughts as well on the current situation. All right, so the first question was, of course, why are you canceling the Eurovision Song Contest in Rotterdam? They're saying with the escalating spread of COVID-19 throughout Europe and everywhere else, hello, I'm in the US, and restriction put in place by the governments of participating broadcasters and Dutch authorities, it's impossible to continue with the live event as planned. And that makes perfect sense. I mean, there's currently, you can't even travel to most countries or travel out of countries. And how are you supposed to get to the destination if all countries are shut down? Do you know what I mean? So that is clearly why it's happening, right? So the fact that it has been canceled itself is not a surprise. I don't think anyone should be surprised about that either. One question is, okay, so why didn't you postpone the event? And the answer was the current situation across Europe is likely to remain uncertain for the coming months. And at this stage, we cannot guarantee we would be able to stage an event of this size with the many stakeholders later this year. A contest later in the year would also reduce the amount of time the winning broadcaster would have to prepare for the following year's competition. And this is a very important point. And if you watched my previous videos, I always said it is way more likely for the contest to be canceled than to be postponed. Just knowing how creating a contest like that is so difficult, demanding, and just alone having a whole year to prepare the contest is an insane undertaking, right? Just doing that alone is very, very difficult. Now, pushing that out and then only give you a few months to start over from scratch, or almost from scratch, is just not feasible. Yes, you may have a theme, you have the artists, but can the artists still attend? Can the delegation still work? What about the EBU, the staff? All of these things, the volunteers, the people behind the lighting, there's the microphone people. You cannot just push it back and then assume everyone is going to is going to be available at that point. And it's just not that simple. I wish it was, but because I would have preferred postponing the contest than canceling it. But I also live in the real world and know that this is not how things work here. So that's definitely not a surprise to me. And by the way, if you have any comments to make, this is a very loose dialogue we're having at ESC United. So I can answer your questions. Emily Freeman is saying, if Rotterdam hosts and the artists get to return, I don't see Eurovision as being cancelled. I see it as Eurovision taking a break. Emily, I like the positive approach there. That, it's not cancelled. It's just taking a break. That is true, because the Eurovision itself is not cancelled, but 2020 is cancelled. I think that is the situation that they're referring to. So I completely see postponing a contest is a very, very difficult thing to do. And then you give the next country even less time to prepare unless you push that one out and then you mess with the entire... It's a pain, trust me on that one. And Talan is saying, songs shouldn't change in 2021. Singers spent a lot of effort on it. It's kind of a chance for them to show themselves. I hope they won't change it. What do you think? Talan, I actually will answer that in a little bit more detail once we went through the entire questions, because we know already that not all artists are guaranteed to come back. Two examples are Estonia and Sweden. And I will talk about that more. I would agree with you, but we do know that this is not going to happen. Then the next question that they asked was, could you not have held the contest without an audience? I think we're past that. They answered that, they're carefully following the advice of the authorities, and it just wouldn't be possible due to the travel restriction and how many people can gather. Even if you don't have an audience, you still have hundreds or thousands of people behind the scenes in the press center or behind the stage, anywhere, and they could still be exposed. So that it's not just the people in the audience. That is what we need to keep in mind. It's more than that. That's why you see all these late night shows. They're no longer going to the studio recording. They all work from home. And it's a similar thing here. It would be cool to have the Eurovision from home kind of situation, but that seems a little much, but we can talk about that. But yeah, it does suck. Why couldn't you have held the show remotely? And that is what I was just talking about. It's in the DNA, and this is the response I'm reading. It's in the DNA of the Eurovision Song Contest to bring delegations, artists, and fans together in one place and provide an equal platform for all artists to compete together on the same stage and the same opportunities to shine. We felt that under the extreme circumstances we face this year, organizing the contest in another way would not be in keeping with our values and the tradition of the contest. The unique format of the contest as an international live event means that it is not possible to identify any realistic alternative. We therefore have no choice other than to cancel the show. So they're saying it's just not what Eurovision is, and this is not what it's about. So it is their opinion. I understand that, but looking at the circumstances, maybe that could have been an option. At the same time, it sounds, again, like a nightmare to put together. Once again, keep in mind, you cannot expect people to gather at their own broadcaster studio and do a performance, because you still have people gathering. And we're talking about a good amount of people. Yes, you can limit it, but then it's no longer Eurovision either, because then it's almost like an acoustic performance of the song. It would be a pretty big mess. I understand where they're coming from, but I wish there would have been some kind of cool alternative rather than just completely cancel it. But this is the route they chose. And then let's see here. Will this selected artists be able to perform their songs next year? This is to be discussed with the reference group and the participating broadcasters, and a decision will be communicated later. And I will talk about that as well in just a moment. What will happen to my ticket? Those who got tickets, you were informed about that at a later point. Sietzebacher, who runs the Eurovision 2020 this year from the Dutch perspective, said that they're hoping that if they can still host it in Ahoy, Rotterdam next year, that they can just extend those tickets, so they can use them the following year. And if not, then there will be a refund, obviously. And then, do we have a date for next year's contest? Short answer, no. That's all needs to be discussed. Is the Netherlands going to host it? If yes, is it going to be in Rotterdam? We don't even know. It's too early to discuss any specifics. So over the next days and weeks, we'll probably get more information. And then the last question they answered, what about the Eurovision Song Contest 2020 CD? We are currently in discussion with Universal Music regarding the sale of the contest. Further news will follow via the official channel as soon as we have more information. So, I hope they're going to put forward that CD, at least if these artists cannot even put forward their music, at least on TV, at least they get that CD out. That would be a nicest part. So that is definitely the saddest part. I gotta stay hydrated. Thomas is saying, for some countries, it's a great opportunity to finally get a better song. For example, France. What do you think, Thomas? That is true, but keep in mind, better is always a subjective opinion, and I don't think that should be used as a strategic play here. Okay, I can get a better song, because that could still have changed. When Tom Leap's song was released and saw the negative backlash, they still could have changed it, and they chose not to. So I don't think they should use a situation like this to strategically improve their results. My personal preference would be, I'm going to say right now, is if all songs that are in the running right now are required to be performed next year. No changes. Done. Either this song or not. That would be my preference, but I do know the EBU will follow the properly broadcaster's preference. And that takes me to some of the other things I wanted to discuss, and that is what's going to happen to the songs, what is going to happen to the artists, etc. Well, we're still very early in the process. We do know that Spain already confirmed that Blas Canto will perform in 2021. Whether or not it's going to be the same song, we don't know yet. We do know that Stefania from Greece will represent Greece in 2021. Again, we don't know if it's going to be Supergirl or another song. Django Macroy from the Netherlands also confirmed for 2021, so no worries there. We don't know about the song. And who else? Georgia. Tornika Kipiani is confirmed for 2021. Ukraine will return with Go A. I think that's how they're pronounced. They are confirmed as well. So we got a few acts already, a handful of them that will return regardless of what's going to happen, which is nice, but that doesn't apply to all acts. There are several of them who may not return, and the only ones we know for sure is Estonia. Uku Suvista is not confirmed for 2021. As a matter of fact, he will have to go for Eesti Laul again. And winning that thing alone is very, very difficult. The only thing that he is being given the advantages is he's already automatically as semifinalists in Estilal, which is not a guarantee because in order to be one of the members or one of the acts in the semifinals, you have to go through like a screening that's done by the juries. He doesn't have to go through that. He's guaranteed a spot in the semifinals. But then even that, certainly not the biggest chance of winning again, unless there's going to be some kind of, coming around behind him and pushing him through regardless of the song. Who knows? But as of right now, he will not return unless he wins Estilal again. Same thing for the Mamas in Sweden. They won Melodifestivalen by a hair. And while Christa Björkman said he feels really bad for them, they will not be returning in 2021 unless they get to perform at Melodifestivalen again, but then they have to win it as well. So that's a big question mark, and it's very difficult to win Melodifestivalen. So I think that sucks. I feel as since this was a very unique situation, they should come back as well. And the next year's Melodifestivalen, which is still a huge event in Sweden and sometimes even bigger than the actual Eurovision event themselves, should just have the disclaimer, hey, in 2021, the winner of Melodifestivalen is not going to Eurovision. So you can decide if you want to take part in Melodifestivalen or not. It's just that simple to me. So give the act the chance to perform. But a lot of broadcasters don't necessarily care as much about the acts. I'm going to say that honestly here. It's about numbers and people getting involved in the voting process. And that is what Melodifestivalen is all about. So it is... that's the situation. So let me see what some of you have to say. Gucci said, I feel sad for Samantha Tina. She tried 8 years, and the year she gets selected, boom, a pandemic happens and canceled the contest. Yes, we don't have an update on Latvia yet, what they're going to do, if they're going to have a supernova next year, or if they're just going to send her directly. So that remains to be seen, but it sucks. It sucks for Yuko Suvista who tried, but Samantha Tina has tried even longer. So, no, I totally get that. Adam Tightman is saying, do you think we might get a couple of countries skipping ESC next year altogether, like Hungary and Montenegro? It could happen. I think next year's could potentially be like a 1970. In 1970, in case you don't know Eurovision history, we had 4 winners in 1969 because we didn't have a tiebreaker that time. And so a lot of countries withdrew out of protest. So something similar could happen next year. Granted, this time around, it's out of the EBU's hands, this virus thing. But depending on how the EBU handles this, there could be a good amount of withdrawals. And that is definitely a reasonable and almost expected outcome. Give me 1 second. My cat just sat down on the iPad and started a video. Stop it. Okay, thank you very much, Dustin. Okay, so that is definitely because one of the countries I also want to talk about is San Marino. The San Marino head of delegation put forward a statement that they agree with what the EBU is doing, like not having it in May, but they're very against the cancellation rather than postponing it. And they I got it in my email, a statement about that, why they feel that way, but it was not in good English, actually, I must say, and very clear. The point they were trying to make, but they were just wanted to have it postponed to September, October. But as I pointed out earlier, it's not as simple as they make it out to be. So let me just do one thing here, by the way. I will have to refresh my screen here real quick. Give me 1 second. I know it's kind of blurry. Give me 1 second.